From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update. Sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Tuesday, December 28th. Showers are likely for most of your day. Highs look to rise into the upper 40s to mid-50s across much of central Indiana. Shootings spanning 2 cities in Colorado leave 4 people dead and at least 3 others wounded, including a police officer. Police say one person is responsible for violence in 4 different places around Denver before the suspect moved into a suburb called Lakewood. Officers say there was a shootout and a chase. When officers caught up with the suspected shooter, they say he shot at one officer. The suspect was then shot and killed. Here's one witness describing what she saw from inside a nearby building.
We were just inside the store and heard like one gunshot and then like a whole array, and it sounded like they hit the side of the building. And then obviously a bunch of cop cars, and they came out and swooped us into the back.
Police have not said who the shooter or the victims are or what may be behind the mass shooting. And 2 children are dead, 4 others in the hospital after a hit and run in Florida. It happened near Fort Lauderdale yesterday afternoon. The children hit are between 1 and 10 years old. Of the 4 hospitalized, 2 are in critical condition and the other 2 are in serious condition. Authorities are looking through any possible surveillance video for leads. No word yet on who the driver could be, nor any details on the vehicle involved. The CDC is changing quarantine recommendations for COVID-19. The agency is citing new data and cutting isolation time in half. According to the CDC, peak infection is 1 to 2 days before symptoms appear and 2 to 3 days after. So officials say people who test positive but do not have symptoms may only isolate for 5 days instead of 10. This is regardless of vaccination status. The CDC suggests wearing a mask for 5 days after isolation. People who got a booster shot do not need to isolate after exposure at all, as long as they don't have symptoms. It's recommended that they wear a mask, though. Dr. Anthony Fauci explains these are helpful changes for the workplace.
Well, the reason is that with the sheer volume of new cases that we are having and that we expect to continue with Omicron, one of the things we want to be careful of is that we don't have so many people out. I mean, obviously, if you have symptoms, you should not be out. But if you are asymptomatic and you are infected, we want to get people back to the jobs, particularly those with essential jobs, to keep our society running smoothly.
The CDC says nearly 62% of Americans are fully vaccinated. And finding out if you even have COVID-19 can prove difficult right now. Appointments at many places are limited as cases surge heading into the new year. News 8's Demi Johnson takes a look at a site that doesn't require appointments, though.
As long lines form outside COVID-19 testing sites, some people standing in them feel a sense of relief.
Finding a test has been hard. Searching through online with CVS, Walgreens, even going in to find at home, it's just been a nightmare.
I think we looked at least 3 or 4 different places before coming here.
Yeah, we looked at a couple of different Walgreens and CVS's, and none of them had any available.
After hearing so many people were struggling to get a test, we tried to make an appointment ourselves. When you type in COVID-19 testing sites near me, several will pop up. But as we scrolled down the list, we couldn't find any available appointments for several days. At the vaccine and testing site at IMS, officials say they performed more than 3,100 tests from Monday through Wednesday last week. Among those tested, approximately 15% were positive.
It's hard to tell if it's just seasonal allergies, like a cold or COVID, and you just have to be safe. You have to get tested no matter what.
With the latest COVID-19 surge and the holidays, people in this line say not knowing if you're sick is not ideal.
It's hard to do what's right and do what you want to do, because you want to get together with all your family, but you want to be protective also.
And it's just coming back from holidays and being around everybody, and then coming into the new year, it's just better to be safe than sorry.
In Indianapolis, I'm Demi Johnson for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
And there are problems finding at-home tests, too. News 8's Hannah Mordeau tried to track one down and found out even if you do get your hands on one, it may not be the best option.
Home rapid test kits generally have been found to be around 70 to 85% at picking it up. when you do it as directed.
Dr. Christopher Belcher is the Infection Prevention Medical Director at Ascension St. Vincent Hospital in Indianapolis.
Sounds like it is something that maybe people can use.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an important part of getting out of this pandemic.
He says it can take days for an appointment and then results from the PCR or nucleic acid tests done at healthcare facilities. At-home tests, they're just faster. If you do test at home, though, doctors say read the directions carefully. I did this, swiped each nostril several times, put the swab in the tube, put the liquid in the testing device, and waited about 20 minutes.
20-minute timer.
Okay, 20 minutes later, and according to this test, I'm negative for COVID. That being said, during the time that I was sitting here waiting for the results, I double-checked the FDA's website for tests that are under the emergency use authorization, and this one's not even listed.
Lesson learned. Make sure the test is FDA approved. The doctors say this process is far from perfect, and if you have symptoms and think you might be sick, also go to a professional.
It still can be useful to go ahead and do that approved test, a nucleic acid test or a PCR test, because they are much better at picking up milder cases, cases without symptoms, low numbers of virus. But again, a positive on a rapid test should be considered positive.
President Biden says the U.S. has bought 500 million at-home COVID tests that will hopefully be available next month. Until then, according to CNN, CVS and Walgreens are limiting the number of at-home COVID tests people can buy due to demand. Doctors say that if you're having trouble finding one, try asking your pharmacist because sometimes they keep them behind the counter. And the president is also directing some of FEMA's funding to help create and run testing sites. He issued the order in a memo yesterday. The funds will be used in coordination with state and local authorities. It is not clear yet exactly where the money will go for sites, but officials say it will go to the areas that need it the most. And a new study paints Indiana as the worst state when it comes to safety during the pandemic. Wallet Hub ranks the state at the bottom of its list based on the average of these following measures: vaccination rates, positive testing rates, hospitalization, death, and transmission. All 50 states and the District of Columbia are included in the study results. So we reached out to the Indiana Department of Health for comment. They sent us this statement. We know that the fall and winter are times when people are typically indoors more and when respiratory viruses can spread more easily. We continue to urge Hoosiers to take steps to prevent the spread of COVID and other viruses such as the flu. We are following CDC guidance and strongly recommend that Hoosiers over the age of 2 wear masks in public indoor settings in areas of substantial or high transmission of COVID-19, regardless of their vaccination status. Early data suggests Moderna's booster may be most effective when fighting the Omicron variant. Moderna reports that its booster increases Omicron neutralizing antibodies 37-fold. Compare those numbers to the Pfizer booster, where the drug maker says virus-fighting antibodies jump to about 25 times. And a Ball Statesman basketball game is rescheduled over COVID concerns. The Cardinals were supposed to be open conference play at Northern Illinois today. The game is now set for Wednesday at 5. And to the Colts, a total of 14 players are now out of action and on the team's COVID list. As of yesterday, the team added 6 more players. Their safety, Jaleel Addae, corner TJ Carey, linebacker Malik Jefferson, running back Marlon Mack, tackle Braden Smith, and corner Chris Wilcox. Head coach Frank Reich is touting the team's resiliency and highlighting last weekend's win without several starters.
I think it was great for our team to overcome this. Just the fortitude, the mental toughness, the bond that it brings you together. We did it together. How do you overcome this? We got to do it together. We got to believe in each other. Guys got to step up. And I think that's what we did. So really, really happy with how the team responded.
The Colts host the Raiders at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon at Lucas Oil Stadium. And the Marion County Sheriff's Office says it will not end some services that had been slated for the axe. The office made a deal with some of the would-be affected towns and cities. This is a story we've been following all month. The services that Marion County Sheriff's Office provides to the 5 so-called excluded municipalities. Those are the cities and towns that are not part of the consolidated government of Indianapolis and Marion County. Earlier this month, we learned the sheriff had planned to end arrestee transportation services for those cities and towns. This was due to budget cuts. Then yesterday, the sheriff announced deputies will continue to pick up people who police arrest for violent crimes in those towns. Deputies also will handle anyone who is arrested for a violent crime and then taken to Eskenazi Hospital. Southport's police chief says this frees up more of his officers to keep people safe.
When the sheriff was unable to transport our prisoners, you have to think on a daily basis we made 2-3 officers out. if we have one spending 3 or 4 hours at lockup trying to take a prisoner down, that puts a strain on the other officers that are on the street.
The new agreement runs for 6 months. Chief Tom Vaughn says he thinks the arrangement will become permanent. The Department of Public Works in Indianapolis is hosting live Christmas tree recycling with drop-off locations across the city right now. You can drop off your live Christmas tree at one of the city's drop-off locations from now through January 31st from dawn until dusk. Just make sure you remove the tree stand and all the ornaments, tinsel, lights, decorations before dropping it off. The collected trees will then be recycled into soil blends and mulch. The service is provided for people living in Marion County only and is not offered for commercial use. The drop-off locations are Broadwell Park, the east side of the parking lot, Ellenberger Park, the northeast corner by the pool, Garfield Park in front of the McAllister Amphitheater, Granite Park's north parking lot, Northwest Way Park to the left of the entrance, Perry Park's main entrance, Riverside Park by the basketball court, and Somme Park near the recycling bins. And the Old National Center is offering a special deal on tickets to Ring In 2022. You can purchase tickets to select shows for $20.22. The list of shows includes Dancing with the Stars Live, Kip Moore, and Daughtry. You can use the code New Year to redeem the offer. The promotion runs through Sunday. We have a full list of the shows online right now. Grab your phone, go to wishtv.com. Click on this story in the As Seen on Wish TV section, and you will find all you need to know to redeem that offer. And finally, a film shot in Indianapolis is cementing its place in history. The 3-minute silent film called The Ringling Brothers Parade Film has landed on the National Film Registry. The 1902 movie is the 11th oldest in the registry. A California couple found the film in their basement almost 50 years ago before donating it to a silent movie museum. The time and place of the movie were later identified and posted to YouTube just this last October. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
Sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling. This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.